Hello, hello, beloveds. Hello, and welcome again to the Sovereign Divinity podcast. And today, this episode is a special one because this is the last episode in the series of the Light Language and Light codes. And so far, we've had such an amazing conversations and amazing guests show up on this podcast. But today, I would like to introduce you to Deasiya Barker. Deasiya is a Starseed channel and an intuitive healer. She has been initiated on the shamanic path, and part of her mission is to assist those awakening on their journey of self-mastery, as well as assisting Gaia with her ascension. Deasiya has always felt a pull towards guiding and healing others from a very young age, and it was only after she went through a divorce and left the Mormon church that she awakened to her true life purpose. Since her awakening, Deasiya has done shamanic training, yoga training, many different forms of energy healing training such as reiki and angelic healing and sound healing. Deasiya also works with galactics, ascended masters, ancestors, and guides, and brings in information to assist those who she works with on their journey moving forward. She is a leader in the Divine Feminine Christ movement and wants to spread the good word that the golden age of miracles is here. It is safe to be who you truly are, to all those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. So, beloveds, join me as we welcome Deasiya Barker. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another week in the Sovereign Divinity podcast. And we are continuing our discussion with light language. And today I have a beautiful, beautiful goddess with me. And I can't wait for you to get to know her and her journey with light language. Deasiya, welcome, 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 my love.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. So honored. Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Woohoo! And this is like, you're like the last in the series. So I'm like so happy that we get to end this series with you. Because
I love that.
Yeah. I'm just so excited. Like your light language in the summit. And for those of you who didn't catch the summit series, you can come into the group and check it out, or you can go on YouTube where I have some of the interviews on there and catch. It was so powerful. And her light language presentation was just incredible. I mean, the whole weekend we were literally anchored. We had to anchor ourselves so that we didn't fly away.
Absolutely.
It was so amazing. So, but welcome, my dear. Welcome.
Thank you.
So let's just dive into it. How did light language even come into your radar? How did it begin for you?
So really, I honestly feel like I've always had this gift. And I remember being a kid and going to like different churches, but there was one particular church that we went to where you worked with the gift of tongues. And I remember everybody would do it. We'd all do it, and then we'd like pass out. But I remember like doing it and pretending to pass out. Like, I don't think that this is really supposed to happen, but it was like it doesn't have to be this extra or this crazy. And but I just remember looking around and watching everybody else, but speaking through this language and not really knowing that that was really a gift.
Yes.
It was really something that I was able to do and channel. And so when I started to consciously work with it, it actually happened probably about 2.5 to 3 years ago is when I really started to consciously work with light language. And the way that it started to come out for me, I just remember like being in a bed with the partner that I was with at this time, and I had this urge to just let something come out of my mouth, and I was like, I don't know what it is, like what's happening. I remember hearing light language before a couple of different times, but I wasn't sure exactly what was happening, and I just knew that I needed to speak. And I thought at first, like, maybe I'm channeling a person and they are like asking
Mm-hmm.
me to help because I wasn't sure, but I just remember that this sound, these tones and these just this beautiful language wanted to come out. And that's how it happened. And that's how I started working with it consciously.
Wow. I love that you mentioned it. I think you're the second person who mentioned the gift of tongues, because that has always been a topic that has absolutely fascinated me. And like when you look at the gift of tongues and then you look at light language, I mean, for
Yeah.
me, it feels like there's a distinction.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's so weird for me when I hear tongues.
Yeah.
It feels like it's more like on the level of our physicality, like he's
Yeah.
able to drop it. So it's more denser, where light language feels lighter, if that makes any
Oh,
sense.
it absolutely does. And like that's why I feel like it's called light language for a reason. It just it is exactly that. And it's not dense and you can just it just works like right through your entire being with and just like really bypasses that logical mind. I do definitely feel exactly the same as you. It just feels so much lighter and just I don't even to me for some reason it feels even pure, even more
Mm, I
pure.
agree.
So
I absolutely agree. I feel like I think this concept has come up in the interviews, like light language being like the language of your soul. What is your
yeah,
take on that?
absolutely. I definitely feel that. And I would say honestly that just going down that line, every single person has this ability because like you said, it's the language of your soul. And it's like your entire journey, up into this present moment, it's like it that beautiful language, like it speaks through you. It speaks through all of your lifetimes, everything that you've been through, everything that you've experienced, and the wisdom and the knowledge that you carry, as well as those that you've worked with carry. It's like coming through you. And so I definitely feel that. And I feel like everybody has this ability.
I
If
love
you
it.
work with it, you can.
I love it. You mentioned at the beginning that like when you were discovering light language and you weren't sure, you're like, wait, am I channeling someone? How did that journey unfold? Like, do you channel someone? Do you channel your higher self? I know it's like so many people do
Yeah.
different things. Yeah.
That's such a great question. So, for me personally, I definitely feel like it's coming from my higher self, but I also work with collectives as well. So it's both. And I really enjoy that so much. It's a beautiful relationship, but what I love about it is that it's not somebody else like taking over my body or it's like not like a trance channel. It's just it just flows and like it drops in um like a clear cognizance way and then it just
Mm.
flows through.
I love that. I love that you mentioned. I was just about to ask you, how do you receive? Like for me, it comes in. I see like these golden, like symbols that come down my channel into my heart, and then goes into my throat, and then I feel that pressure, and then it comes out that way. And so I know there's someone that I interview, and it was like green codes that come through, but I love it because it all comes through for each of us in a different way. And
Absolutely.
I don't want them to get stuck on this is how it comes and that's it. If it doesn't show up for
Yeah,
you that way, and you know that people
absolutely.
do get stuck in those things. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that's so important to say that. And with working with light language, like you said, it can look so many different ways. It can feel so many different ways for people. And it doesn't have to even come out vocally. It doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be vocal. It can be written, it can be through dance, it can be through art. It's however you want to express that. It's your authentic expression. And so you get to make it your own. And that I love that so much about it.
So beautiful. And then you talk about I guess I can call it dialects because it
Yeah.
sounds different. You talk about the different dialects that come through. I remember when I stepped into speaking light language, I was already listening to other, light language from people that I love.
Mm.
And I was like, how come mine doesn't sound like theirs? Some people have like this, it sounds to me like fairies talking. It's like very
Yeah.
playful, and it's just so funny. You can't help but just smile. And then you have others that are like more warrior-like, and
Yeah.
just you feel like you just ground them by just listening to it. And there's one person that it just sounds like she was singing, like it was so beautiful, right? And it's just so cool to see. And even within one person, the different dialects that show up for you. So for you, is that something that you've experienced as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even within like just even myself, like there's so many different vibrations that are coming through. And like specifically, because I work a lot with blueprints, and blueprints, like we're made up, our origins like come from so many different places. It's not just one place. And so when I work with these different collectives, and then also like channeling through like my higher self, it's so many different tones and dialects coming through all at one time, and then they're just like, it's this cohesion and this like flow together and working with it and just like supporting you. And so yes, absolutely, I love it so much. It's really beautiful, and it's music to my ears.
Exactly. So you've been mentioning blueprint a lot. Tell me more about that. What is it? What is it about?
So the way I like to define a blueprint, so if you really look at it, it's like when you want to create something, when you like say you want to create a house, you're going to create these blueprints before you actually create it into form, a physical form. It's like this is the blueprint of what I want to create, right? And so when I'm saying the blueprints, you came here, and before you came here, you had a plan. Like you had this blueprint that was mapped out. So it's like a map that you created of what in your totality, what you want it to embody. And so that's what I'm working with and what I'm bringing in, to just really bring in those original blueprints, because when we download into this earth form, there's so much viral programming that begins to really attack that original blueprint, right? And so it's really clearing all of that viral programming out and getting to that origin, right, of what you really want it to be and create and embody.
Mm,
That's what I about.
I love that. It also reminds me of DNA activation. Is that something that
Right.
you also incorporate in
Yes,
there? I can totally see you do that
absolutely.
too.
Yeah, because we're working with, right, our crystalline DNA. And this
Yeah.
earth form, this 3D is the carbon-based DNA. We're activating our crystalline DNA, and which in that crystalline DNA has that motherboard that you're working with that overrides all of the viral programming. And so we're absolutely working with that. It's activating your, I like to call them God codes.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. I do DNA activations, and before I started speaking when I should say after I started speaking light language and incorporating that into my services, I realized how easy, like, it became, like my gifts became
Yeah.
easier, if that makes any sense. Like now
Yes.
DNA
Yes.
activation, instead of me going through like steps and prolonging
Right.
it, making it longer, it's just like with light language I can just go right to the point and just
Yeah.
get it done. They're activated, and it's almost like it amplifies it even more. Like,
Yeah.
oh man.
I definitely feel that. It's like with light language. And the reason why I feel like too, it's like light language, it's light codes, is because it's so much, even just in one like word that you can say with the light language, that we cannot comprehend everything that is happening with those specific codes with our human brain. We can't
Yes.
logically think of, oh, what does this mean? What is everything that's happening right now? It's something that you have to experience and feel and just integrate and download and embody. Like it's just
Yes.
so big. It's so big that like it's impossible to just translate that in our our human language because it's so dense.
Totally. I call it the zip file.
I love that. Yes, that's
Right?
what
It
it
comes
is.
in, yeah, it comes in as a zip file, and you have no idea how much is in there, but it kind of, you receive it, and then as you are moving along on your path, it opens up and what you need
Yeah,
comes in. So it's so much
yeah,
that's coming through. And I love the fact that I don't have to think about what I'm
yes,
trying to activate, what I'm pulling through. It
yes,
just, I know that you will receive exactly what you need and
absolutely.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's really so profound because it just wraps really into, sovereignty and you healing yourself. It's that's what light language does. It's like you're literally healing yourself all in all of your lifetimes in this one single lifetime. It could be as fun as you want it to be. It could be as easy as you will allow it to be. And the light language helps so much with that. Like, it's so amazing. Like, it's a
It is.
miracle manifesting in that moment.
Isn't it fascinating that light language is almost like highlighted at this time? More and more people are waking up to, either activating their own way of expressing the light language and light codes, or being drawn to listening
Yeah.
to, it's so cool that it's coming in at this time now that we've stepped into the fifth dimension. What is your take on that? Why that is blooming at this time?
I love it so much. It really makes me so happy. I'm going to take a step back and just say, like, originally when I started to channel light language, I was a little nervous and scared because it is so different. It's a different way of channeling information. And even in the community that is what you would consider awakening community,
Yes.
it's still very different. And some people don't really know about it. And so I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. This is not the way I wanted to channel. And it's like, but I always knew that I was a channel. I didn't know that it would drop in that way. And I'm so grateful because I feel like there have been people who have come before us that have been channeling language that have opened it up and made it easier for us to be able to step into those gifts and open ourselves. And so as more people step into their authenticity and they work with their gifts that they were given, that they were meant to be here working with, it allows a space for others to open up and to also feel comfortable and relaxed and safe and being able to express in their authentic way that it's okay to be you, because it's so perfect. Like, we need you to be you and your authenticity, your divine blueprint, your key code. It's just so beautiful, and I'm so grateful, because it allowed me to be able to accept myself in a much deeper way and just really love myself.
Yes. I'm like listening to you. I'm like, yes, absolutely. So real quick, Deasiya, you also do the Sophia circles, right?
I do, yes.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. I had to break because I just,
I
I love the
yeah,
Sophia code. I love Kaira.
I do too.
And it's just, so is that something you incorporate in this? Because I can see both
Yeah,
energies, just like, I mean, it's the Sophia
it's
code.
beautiful. Yeah, so those offerings exist separately. As far as like the Sophia Circle is kind of its own container in a way,
Yes.
but I definitely offer like private sessions in the midst of like integrating the
Beautiful.
of the Sophia code. So you could do like the Sophia circle on its own, and then also like I have like the different offerings like that work with light language that can also support you on your journey as well. So what I love about Sophia circles is it's a full complete journey, and there's 13 chapters in the Sophia code, and we go through all of the chapters, and you get to do that in a beautiful community together. And the reason why it's so important to do all of it is just so you can really activate the entire motherboard within your own DNA and not be fragmented, right? where you're just running around with one key code
Yep.
that you're embodying. Is so important to do it all, and it complete it also in your own time frame, because like it is highly activating. So it is really important to listen to your intuition, listen to your body, and to allow that awakening to happen with as much ease and grace and compassion and love that you can, because it's going to change your life
It
forever.
does. Absolutely. Absolutely. And for those of you who are wondering what the Sophia Code is or the Sophia Circles, make sure that you reach out to Deasiya and talk to her, because she has an amazing circle. Like, it's on my radar. Like, I want to.
Yeah, I
can
would
like
love to have
step
you.
in it. Because I've been kind of following the journey on my own, and just, just like my own journey with the Sophia codes and activating myself, but I've never done it in a circle. So I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, you're like, oh, this sounds really good, I want to check it out, make sure you contact her and definitely talk to her about that. So speaking of that, what are other ways that you use light language to support you, to support your life and your business as well?
Oh, in just so many different ways. I mean, one of the ways when I first started working with it, my guys were like, how fun can you be with the light language? And so what they suggested to me when I first started working with it is that whenever a trigger comes up, to just start channeling light language, right? And it just like brings you back to that 0 point, and you're like embodying so much peace, and it makes it so fun because you're like, wow, just turn this energy, like you just transmuted this energy and made it like so much lighter. Like I can't even tell you how many times I'm like, my kids will trigger me and I'm like, oh, I'm so mad. And then I'm like, start channeling light language, and I just bust out laughing. It's like, oh, like, thanks. Like, it's that easy. Like, okay, I can allow the anger to move through me. And if I want to also work with transmuting that energy, how can I let this like flow more easily? And
exactly.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned it, because it's not about, the light language is not like a bandage. That's not what it's doing. Like, we're still human and we're still experiencing these emotions, but it's like honoring how I'm feeling at this moment, and then saying I'm ready to move on, and then bringing in the tools to help me move through it. So there was an instant, the way I used it, kind of like you did too, where I was just laying on the bed. My son was like on top of me feeding as usual. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm done with breastfeeding. Can we just move on? And I was just like, oh my God, there's so much I can do. And I just heard, just chill and be here. And I'm looking at him. I just started speaking light language. And he's just kind of like listening to me, like, as if like, I mean, kids know that language. It's just like they're so familiar with it. So I'm speaking it, and I'm feeling myself like transmuting the fears and the anxiety that I was feeling. And he's listening to me, and it became such a precious moment at that point. Like it just, again, bringing in that peace, like observing myself, just enjoying that moment with my son. It was, I mean, it's priceless. Absolutely priceless.
I love that so much. And as you were like talking, and was thinking about the feeding aspect that was also happening, and that like as like you were channeling that light language, like it was also encoded in that mother's milk that was coming through. And just like working with it with the waters that are within you as well, because we know that like just how much coding you can do just in the medicine of water, right? And so downloading that transmission into any water that you're in and working with that can be so powerful.
Oh, I got chills when you said that. I love it. I absolutely love it. There's no right way to work with light language. There really isn't. And there's a question coming. It has to do with the transmitting of light language, because I've had people ask me, is this something that I need to go learn in a school? Is this something that, I need, like, do you learn it? Do you just start speaking stuff and then it comes through? What advice would you give them?
I would say that you don't need to go to school for it, but also honoring your sovereignty and saying that if you feel like it's something, a class that you need to take, then it's a class that you need to take, right? Because
Aha. Yeah.
it's all going to be based in your beliefs. So you can definitely activate it on your own. You can listen to other people's light language and ask like to be activated as you're listening to that light language, and just start working. You could just start working with different sounds that are coming out of your mouth. Just let it flow. Like there is a specific thing that I know that I use to open up more of my light language, and I can't remember the person that this came from, but it's Ima, Ita, Isha. Ima,
Oh,
Ita,
yes.
Isha. And that, just working with that specific sounds and just repeating it over and over, it will actually open you, and you can start to, like, as you start to feel like, oh, something else wants to come out, let it come out. Let it come out. And it can also be written, like I said, it could be any way that you want it to be. But like I said, if you feel like you need a teacher, you feel like you need a class, then you need a class.
I love that. I love that you said that. I don't think I've heard that aspect yet, because so far I've just heard listening to someone speak light language. But again, if you have blocks,
Yeah.
if you know that you need to work
Yeah,
through it in order for it to flow. And if
absolutely.
someone has a course that will allow you to release the blocks,
Yes.
then you need that. So I love
Yeah.
that you mentioned that. That is so, so good. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like for me, it was definitely listening to, but then light codes wasn't a stranger to me. Like I was drawing it, I was toning it before I even
Yes.
speak it. So it wasn't, it was taking me to that place where I could start to speak it. So it was
Yeah.
different. But I remember I was feeling the pressure so much that I was like, do I need to take a class or something? Like, how do I get this out? I just needed to come out. And one day I was in the bathroom and my higher self was like, why don't you just pick up your phone and start talking? And then it just came
That.
through. Again, if I had blocks, if I tried
Yeah.
to, do something with my mind, it would not have happened, but I trusted it. And I just
Yeah.
kind of picked it up and I let whatever needed to come through. And
I love
that's why
that.
it worked that way for me. So I
I
love
love
that, like
that.
honoring yourself. What do you
Yeah.
need? Yeah.
It's true. And it is trust. Like trust came in big when you were talking. Like that was the thing. And I also feel like in a group setting, if you're taking a class, there's something very powerful
Mm.
about doing it together in a collective, because you're bringing all of that energy together. And um, it's like that I am presence, and where what Jesus said, what, when two or more are gathered, there I am. And so it's that collective energy can really be so powerful. It can really
Yes,
do a lot of good. So
that is true. Oh, I love that. When you said I had an image of bringing like speakers together, like in a platform like
yeah,
this, and then we're all speaking light language, but we have an intention, like one intention that we're focused on, and we're all bringing out, like we're all speaking, and it's like different
yes,
dialects, and I could see like just the intention just charge up. Oh, I love
yes.
it.
I
It's on
love
my
that so
radar.
much.
I love that. But there's
So
something
beautiful.
about groups, coming together under one intention, one purpose,
Yeah,
amplify. I mean, it
yeah.
is incredible. It's
It
incredible.
is. It's very, very powerful. And I just think about the shifting that can happen on a planet when you're gathering together, especially with something like light language, because it is so highly activating and powerful and healing, that it could do so much good.
Absolutely. Oh, beautiful. I think maybe you already talked about this. For someone who feels like the pressure or like the call to step into the gift, like they know they're here to express their light code, speak light language, draw it or something, and they're kind of shy because they don't know what their community will think or what their family will think. What advice would you give them that will help them step in fearlessly and just love in that process?
I really love that question a lot. And what I would say is, the first thing that I would suggest is to really sit with your journal and to really write about what's coming up for you as far as like fears, and if it is even your fear, or you just feeling the collective, because there's so many people who have chosen not to step into their authenticity, not to be who they really are, but to allow others to dictate who they are. And so it's really important to work with your subconscious mind and see what's really happening there. What are the beliefs that you're really carrying? Are they yours? And maybe it would be really good to actually write out what's the worst thing that can happen. And what I would also say is that this is a lifetime that you're truly safe to express that, because I know there's so many lifetimes where we've been killed. There's been so many things that have happened to us because we chose to speak our truth, because we chose to be authentic and share our wisdom and knowledge that we have. But this lifetime is different. This is different. And you are safe. You're so safe. And you're not alone. There's so many other people who are doing this alongside you. So many masters have incarnated, such as yourself, at this time for this specific reason. And we really need you. We really need you. And so I would honestly say, yeah, like it's just so important to come from your heart, let your heart guide you, and know that you're not alone. You have a whole team that's supporting you. Um, and there's also so many different communities that you can work with, that you can really feel that are supporting you. And so I would suggest that you reach out and you call in your soul tribe, because you're going to feel really lovingly supported and safe to be able to step out into your gifts and abilities. And anybody who mocks you or tells you not to do that, then maybe it's time to walk away from that, because that's not love, and that's not somebody who is going to support you in being who you truly are. And it's really important for you to be
Mm. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So at this point, is there a light language that would like to come through for our audience to support them?
Yeah, I actually feel that there is a transmission that's coming through that's really going to support with authenticity and feeling safe to be you. So I'd love to share that.
Go for it, Mama. All yours.
Da I ko oreta ka tis na ko usta hia ko oreta ta kiste ki ina. Sa ko oreta ta ki tis na ko tukuta ki ke kena kia so koreta ta kiste. Sa kiena oreta ta katatasta. Sa inkene o ko papi te rete ta rite rete 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 tukuta ta tis na ko umakie. Sa orienta te ki isha ko o kakina ki ke kere re 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 ko torita te duste. Sa kia orita te katatasta, sa inkina onkana kekera kotorieta titis te kobusta, sa ikina orita te katitidation ko uma ki pepeta, sa ereta ki ireta tatatashna ko ua ikine, roto reta katatatashna kiana koreta te ki ite kia ua, sa ukana kiana orita te ki iste, sa kia ua ki ena kia orita tati, ria ria ta kia makuuma sa kina ko reta ka yishna ko ua ki kia na ko reta ta kia ua kia I hana hana hela ko reta ta kishe sa kiria to reta ta tishno ko reta ta kia roto ko reta ta kishne kia unta sina hi so kia ho kia na hana kia o akini kina hi sahi aku nashe na hu herara he ya hu la ya he ona he o a he o na he Okana he yo he ya he yo na ke yo Yoga heo heo aina. Yo ahe 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 ona. Eona he he heo ahe. O aki he yo. Nakia o Krishnaku haki he kekina. Roto toko shamaki isnakia. Rota takiste ke moku uste. Sakio akina. Sarite te snaku onakini. Roto tokusta kia hua. Saki moku orete te kia ua. Erete kia ua te teiste. Sakure te ku usna ki moku o kakini. Roto takutaste ke potosha te to sokuna. Ayano kopa kia ua. Heko akina. Voa kiala ko oreta takiste. So ko oreta takatiste. Sa ikine hoa kaia. Shoo, shoo, shoo. Taking a deep breath in and releasing that when you're ready.
So good. I just saw like images of they look like cords and they were just literally dissolving. The first image I saw was like wings, like my wings open, of course, which was no surprise. And then the cords like started showing up and just dissolving into nothing. And it felt really good. Thank you for such a blessing.
You're so welcome. Thank you for letting me share. I love what you shared about the wings because I totally felt that coming in for everybody, as well as like this rainbow light that was really supporting the heart. So thank you.
Yes. The last transmission, like towards the end, it felt like you were grounding it. It felt very grounding.
Absolutely.
To me. Oh,
yeah.
It felt
I felt
so
like
good.
Sophia Gaia was definitely coming in to help with that.
Totally. I'm curious. What you mentioned at the beginning, you sometimes channel councils. What councils do you channel?
Yeah, I work with a lot of different collectives. So because
collectives,
I work with
yes.
yeah, so I work with from galactic as well as from the earth plane as well. So I work with a key code 999, which is the star nations that are supporting this planetary shift that's happening. So Arcturian, the Syrian star nation, Pleiades, that's like my home. That's like my family.
Yes.
So Pleiadian. I also work with Phoenicians. I work with dragons. I work with fairies. I work with inner earth beings as well. Dolphins. Just a lot. There's a lot. Sophia Gaia. Yeah, the trees. And even ancestors.
Interesting. I'm glad that you mentioned the trees because lately I noticed that I do that. Like when I'm in the backyard and I touch a tree, or when I'm looking at the tree, I'm like, oh, okay. Now I understand your language very clearly. Let's do this. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I have definitely feel like I've blossomed so much in this relationship with trees and really recognizing them as our ancestors. They are ancestors. And it's really so beautiful how much they can support us and how much knowledge that they have. And it's like, you could just go sit by a tree and, oh my gosh, like just all the information and all how like they're just like help to release so much from your body. If you could just like allow that to happen. And it's just so beautiful. I'm so grateful.
Yes, absolutely. I believe that trees are like one of our major earth teachers.
Amen.
Like they teach us about everything. You can just watch them go through the seasons and they literally, if you open up, they'll teach you everything.
Yes.
You know, one of the things One of the things that I do is when my husband is having a hard time, I'll tell him to grab a chair and go sit by the tree. And he will. And then he will come back and be like, this is what I got. Okay.
I love that so much.
Oh man. But I definitely sensed it. You said Arcturian, right?
Yeah, so Arcturian, yep,
Arcturian.
Sirian, Pleiades, yeah. So a few others, but like the Phoenicians come in a lot for me. The Hathor Star Nation, we work with them as
Yes.
well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I sense that one too. Oh, mine has been the Andromedan. That's my home planet.
I love that.
And then Sirius comes in Hathor, but I haven't channeled them yet. I've been just focused on Andromeda. So it'll be interesting to see when they come online and start transmitting. Yeah, so fascinating.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Yeah, I love the Hathors because it's so multidimensional with them, and like we work a lot with like portals and like opening and just working with your parallel lives as well. It's so powerful, and I know there's so many people who have incarnated that are part of that collective, and so it just makes me excited because I feel like I've met quite a few of them, and so I have no doubt in my mind that like you are one of them as well.
Thank you. Oh, my love. Thank you for joining me today to talk about this juicy topics. And I hope that each and every one of you, if you like, hopefully you got something out of here. I mean, each person that came on has blessed you with the light by just you being present here and listening to them and listening to the transmission. And these transmission will be on the podcast. You can always come back and revisit. But I hope that you receive the wisdom that they shared with the wisdom of your journey, how they blossomed, how they unfolded. Hopefully that inspires you and you stepping into your own authenticity. Deasiya, thank you so much for your gift, for your light, for your wisdom, your ancient wisdom. Thank you for your presence as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here, and I just love you guys so much. I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so honored.
Thank you, everyone. Until next time, have a fabulous week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Wow. Amazing. Oh my goodness. What a series. So I would love to hear from you. What are some of your takeaways? What were some of your favorite episodes and conversations? What activated within you? Did you also start like talking, speaking light language? Did you also begin like drawing light language, toning light language, singing light language? What awakened within you? I would love to hear that from you. And of course, if there is a topic that you feel like I should bring that onto the podcast, let me know. I would love to. I love having these juicy conversations. So let me know. Send me a message. And before I end this, I just wanted to invite you, if you are a visionary, if you are a wayshower, if you're a leader with a story about a miracle or an experience that completely changed your life in a positive way, I would love to feature you in my multi-author book, Miraculous. So go ahead and send me a message. I'll have the link in the show notes, so find out about how to join this. And come join us on this journey, especially if you would love to be an author, not just any author, a best-selling author, and amplify your voice, expand your reach. This is for you. Thank you, everyone, and until next time.